Now, this is now going into the book. This is going into the audiobook, going into the video. Do I not need somebody? I need a little Sancho Panza. A good one. I need a son who's old enough, and this could be biological or... By the way, there's already in the gangster community, more specifically, the musicians who are among affiliated or want to be with the gangster type, and very much so in the Hispanic Latin pop community, such as Bad Bunny or the other reggaeton artists. I guess they would prefer to call themselves Latin trap, is the idea of sonhood. You have followers or people who are willing and obedient to your will, who are more than followers. These are potential mercenaries who would, for even free, be willing to do things for you. Whatever it might be. Get your groceries. Let's not get too caught up in what it is that a son does, but a son could hold up a camera and take videos and all sorts of things. But the son doesn't do this just to do it out of pure obedience. The son themselves is an individual to be reckoned with in themselves. They're an aspiring equal. It's an apprenticeship. It's an idea of bringing up and bringing along. And this exists and can exist among all other communities where you're buying your way through service and good deeds and loyalty and showing your talent and worth in many other ways as well. Like, you have to have the confidence and courage to assert your talents in this milieu of potentially betters, or those who deem themselves better, or who through money, awards, and accolades are better. And so you have to at least be able to want to prove yourself among these as their equal. If not, if you have the kind of confidence or audacity and ambition and courage to claim that you're their better and do it to their face and do it openly and willingly and blatantly without getting dismissed for arrogance and hubris and just betrayal of confidence. I think it takes a very astute and clever, dexterous soul to be able to son in the highest possible way as to father future sons with great respect and talent, accomplishing and doing everything that's necessary to take on all the degrees of authority. It takes a great soul, and so we cannot but acknowledge it and lead other souls to sonship. And so I wish to gain as many as possible. Talker time. Let's blame the wind. Let's blame the slowness at which I'm smoking this. And let's blame life in general for imperfection. Because we have to actually accept, this is not the dialogues. The dialogues, these are the dialogues. But there's no dialogue with AI here. Because we're completely ignoring ChatGPT. But we won't. We'll come back to it. What I'm trying to say is, this kind of cycles and rotates. It comes and goes. I have structure and format. Right now I have a lot to say. There will be a point where we have said what needed to be said. We've clarified the point. We've achieved the principle of clarity or communication. And we moved on. But then other times, then that's exhausted, that's taken, that's done. What's there left to do other than to see what we're actually saying and maybe self-reflectively look back with memory at what's been said and unpack it? It kind of gives a certain musicality to the book when it's written as a book, or the movie when it's moved to the movie, between consciousness and self-reflectivity. Pure stream of consciousness, pure unreflective blabber, such as happening right here for the last 2 streams as we've been introducing the movie and this new structure, which is exciting, this rush of ideas, which could lead to a transcendent idea or a new link, which could lead this entirely into a new direction, as has been the case. I mean, we haven't been doing this for this long without being taken by every single wormhole possible. And perhaps if you want to think how that's possible, or when that happens, or could that happen to me, or if it hasn't happened yet, when this could get exciting, and how we could end up at such vast topics that are different and novel and new, then just bethink yourself where we began this conversation and where we are now and how far we've gotten, or what's been said since then and where exactly this has gone, and has it gone in any direction at all? Has anything linear been said? What has been gained? And what's this all about? So if those questions all come up with more question marks, then ask yourself whether or not we're already achieving a sort of recursive, self-reflective style that's incomprehensible linearly, that's perfectly happy and okay in its absolute chaos and disformation, which actually, when looked into, when read on text and in paper, you'll see this actually follows a very clear course and path, although it might seem rambling. It's just because it's happening in very large circles. So, let's jump back and let's get to what ChatGPT has to say about what we've said. Let's bring this to a conclusion, because I do have to finish. This is a good time. I think we've had our brain sort of muddled enough. This will head in a direction. This will get clearer. This will have structure. This will take you to heights. This will be more passionate. This will involve yelling. This will involve grieving. No tears. Maybe tears of lamentation and loss. At the wrong moment, perhaps it might escape. Who knows? I'm just not going to sit here and cry in front of the camera when I'm grieving. I'm going to process it. We're going to go through it. We're going to undergo. We're going to lament. We're going to extemporaneously projaculate words into existence. By the way, the other day we invented the word projaculation. Instead of ejaculation, which is the sort of spraying everywhere uncontrollably of matter, of existence, of words, of whatever it might be, projaculation has a rational aspect to it. It's the aiming. It's a sniper throwing out. It's by the way, ejaculation, jactus, is the Latin word at the root of it, which all it means is to throw. And it actually has a very interesting historical connection with what Julius Caesar once said when he crossed the Rubicon, and he said, the dice has been thrown. I have taken the step of fate. Once he crossed that river, he irrevocably declared war against Italy. He became its greatest general, or one of its great young generals, to its great potential tyrant and dictator, or civil war leader, rebellion and tyrant, and rebellious insurrectionist. And he took that step and many more as fast as he could. He in fact sprinted in 7 days from the Alps to Rome to take power before Pompey, his great rival, got there, as he was getting word constantly through the great Roman roads of his rival's progress towards the capital. And he, through great lengths and borrowing of money, made it through bribes and gifts to become dictator and emperor. The great ascent of Julius Caesar is a marvelous thing to be looked at. He knew how to play politics from the very beginning, and politics is nothing more than marketing. Back in the Roman days, the pure use of power there was more linked. It was a more public arena. Publicity was more what the person did than what they said. And what was said often was played in the courtrooms. And that's where the great scenarios of rhetoric were played. They weren't played in the common marketplace. Well, they perhaps were, but we've reached the 10-minute mark again of ChatGPT. Hope everyone has a great day. We'll try to keep recording and keeping this wondrous book going. Peace out. 10 minutes. We'll see if it works. This video keeps going. The audiobook, who knows? Yeah, the audiobook is going. Let's just see if ChatGPT accepts it. We have these privileged minutes between the audiobook and the video when ChatGPT is rolling and seeing if it will accept the chat. And if not, then you get the true lamentations of grief, the real-time sorrows. Not that bad anymore because we're capturing this in the voice. So this is the whole idea of de-risking, adding the voice recording on Apple because then we can just get the text. But it's such a bad voice to text that it's so bad. That's why we're on Apple, because the voice to text of Apple is so bad that we went on to AI. All of this was to say, and this is not even in the book, let's make sure it's in the book. The whole idea of the Apple thing was to say that the voice-to-text software, for example, Otter AI, is 1,000,000 times better, and the voice-to-text software, ChatGPT, is 1,000,000,000,000 times better because it has AI at its helm. And the one from Apple is just bare, old-style computer. Who the hell knows who's in charge of this company? But anyway, let's keep going. And then let's insert it. Let's see if it goes through. Okay, boom. End of video, end of audiobook. Let's end the audiobook. Video gets last because you're the most privileged. Let's just do this in a hierarchical order. Peace out.